Hi there. This is a recap of my talk from last Wednesday for those of you who weren't able to make it. The aim of the talk is to give you some criteria to think about when thinking about future sixth form options and to unpack where you might find relevant information and to think about some relevant considerations. Within this talk, I'm going to be looking at a variety of options. The key thing with any decision about sixth form is looking at it from an individual's perspective rather than believing that the same options are best for everybody. It is really varied, so do make the time to make the right decision for you as an individual. So the first question you need to ask yourself is, what is the right course for me? A-levels are the traditional option, they're the blue ribbon option, they're the option that give you the best access to the biggest number of courses. You can aim right for the top at the top universities, but also you can go in for the most competitive degree apprenticeships where you combine earning with learning, and you're often working for some of the country's most prestigious employers such as Rolls-Royce and PricewaterhouseCoopers, which have been destinations for girls in recent years. An alternative is the BTEC. This is taught in much more specific areas, so health and social care, engineering, etc. It can be a really good route, particularly for students that find traditional exams more difficult because it's much more coursework based. You can still go to university with a BTEC. It's just slightly more restrictive on the courses and the universities, as not all universities recognise it. T-levels are the new kid on the block. They are 20% in business learning with a company and 80% in-class learning. They are similar to the BTECs in the assessment modules and look like really good options. In addition to that, there are apprenticeships where you go straight into a job after school and are trained on the job. What's really important to consider is how useful are the qualifications? How much are they going to benefit you? Are they going to take you down the path you want to go down? You've also got to consider what you're good at. Be honest with yourself. If you're really good at maths, then maths A-level is a great idea. If you're going to work really, really hard and get a 6 or maybe scrape a 7, it may not be a great idea to pursue maths at A-level. What do you enjoy? It's got to be something you're going to study for a third of your time, so you've really got to enjoy what you're doing, enjoy that course. Look at how the courses are assessed. Is it mainly exams? Is it mainly coursework? Is it a mixture of the two? Is it portfolios, etc.? Think about the university options that those qualifications open out, and also what career aspirations you might have. Most of you won't know at the moment, and that's absolutely fine. I wouldn't expect you to at all, but you've just done your Morrisby, so hopefully you've got some ideas beginning to form. If you're looking at a school or college that does do A-levels, make sure they have the right A-level subjects for you. Now, there are an awful lot of A-levels out there. We have about 22 different A-levels that we offer. The subjects that we don't offer for a reason. That's because universities don't necessarily value them as highly, or perhaps employers don't value them as highly, but also because our girls don't necessarily pick them. So there are some good A-levels out there that perhaps you may be attracted to, but just beware. Law, media studies, film studies, etc. are the English language are subjects that are not necessarily given the biggest weight at universities. You can check those A-levels out if you have a look online. The University of Sheffield has a list of preferred A-levels and non-preferred A-levels, as does LSE, but I'll be doing some more on that coming next term. So it's not something to fixate too much on at the moment, but make sure wherever you're applying has the right A-level subjects for you. It's really important to consider the results record of the school or college you're considering. You're entrusting your education to them, and you've got to feel really confident that they're going to be able to help you get the best results you can. Now, there are a number of different criteria to look at. The percentage of A-star A grades, percentage of A-star to B grades, their EPQ results, the mean A-level of the class, so what's the average A-level that the college is getting, the value added, are they getting the grades that they should get, below the grades they should get, or above the grades that students of that ability should get, and also you can look at comparable performance between girls and boys. So for context, at A-level we achieved 70.4% A-star A this year just gone with real exams in exam halls, which was fabulous. It also put us top in the southwest, apart from Benenden, who pipped us just by a whisker, and 84% A star to B. The mean level of our A-level classes was A minus. The value added was very strong at 0.25, which I'll get to in a minute to explain what that means. Obviously, we performed well for girls because we don't have boys. And again, EPQ results were really strong, and I'll explain why that's important in a minute, with 65% A star, 84% A star A, and 100% A star to B. But actually, this really comes down to a comparable performance judgment, and there's some really good tools out there to do this. You can trawl for the DFE league tables, but they have not arranged them as league tables anymore, so it's actually very hard to do that, and they've cut out quite a lot of the information. What is really helpful is the Good Schools Guide, where you can go on and you can see an average point score per A level, and you can also see a value added score, which shows how much better or worse a student has done than they should have done. And you can also see how girls and boys perform in different subject areas and overall at A level. So here's an example of one of the tables produced on the Good Schools Guide. This is average point score. It's lovely to see the Maynard over to the right, so very high up in terms of the distribution of schools with average point score, and you can see what the national average is there as well. So with regard to value added, why does it matter? Well, it can be quite hard for selective environments to add value. For instance, if you've got a student that should get an A star, if they get an A star, you still get 0.0 value added. And it can be hard to add more value from GCSE. So we're very proud of the fact that our girls gain 0.4 to 0.5 of a grade at GCSE. So, you know, those 8s are being turned into 9s, those 7s into 8s, so those 6s into 7s for half of the GCSEs the girls are studying. Since 2015, we've had really strong value added at A level as well, with about 0.25% on average year on year, which means that 1 in 4 A level results is a grade higher than it should be. Now that's particularly impressive because we added that value at GCSE, and the value added is measured against their GCSE scores. So to add value again on qualifications which are harder and have got a more difficult skill level to achieve is really impressive. And you know, amongst the higher achieving schools in the country, we have one of the higher value added scores. So what does this mean in reality? So most of our students get 1 A level higher than their baseline suggests. And that's really important because university entrance grades are very tightly grouped. Economics at LSE requires A star AA. Even at sort of Birmingham, Nottingham, really good Russell Group universities, it's going to be AAA. So it's really important to get those high grades because you haven't got much wriggle room for those top universities. Likewise, things like medicine, if you get AAB, they don't accept you for medicine. It's just as simple as that. You know, you can go on to some great biomedicine courses or perhaps pursue other routes in healthcare, but medicine is not possible with AAB. It would be resets or alternatives. Likewise, your EPQ score might be really important. So if you get an A in your EPQ, there are lots of universities that will adjust your grades down. So we had a girl that was given an adjusted grade last year for natural sciences. A star AA became AAA at Bath. Likewise, you know, it might get you into that Russell Group University for law. So it's, you know, really worth bearing in mind how good the EPQ results are. The extended project qualification, sorry, I should explain what that is. It's a research project that's undertaken by students if they choose to, in addition to their 3 or 4 A levels, and they do it on the topic of their choice. So if the results are strong in that, that might give your daughter a bit more leeway when considering her A-level choices in terms of which universities to target. And we're very proud of the fact that from drama and English to chemistry and physics, value is added consistently. And this is represented in the Good Schools Guide again in a really helpful way. You can see where the national picture is, the national average for value added, and you can see that the Maynard School is, you know, significantly to the right of that. So in a statistically significant way, we are adding value to our A-level students, and not all selective schools can say that. And as I say, it's a useful comparative tool. Another really important question to ask yourself is, what is the right learning environment for me? So, you've got to think about the average level of the class. Is the class going to be pitched at a level where you feel confident and you're going to be able to thrive and you're going to be carried along by an ambitious group? Are you a self-starter, or do you benefit from being in an environment where there's motivation from peers and staff? Can you take that individual responsibility, or actually you need that energy from others to keep going? Class size. There are some great sixth form colleges out there. We've got an outstanding one in our city, but it operates on a very different class size model. It has to, as a conference recently for sixth form colleges, and they outlined that the break-even point is 26, 27 for sets to run, because otherwise they don't bring in enough money to fund the sixth form college. That affects your learning experience significantly versus class sizes that are on average between 8 to 12 and not bigger than 15 with us. I think it's really important to feel that the teachers will know you, and that comes with the bigger class size, but it also comes with shifting school environments. I'll come to this in more detail later, but sixth form is actually a very short window. It's only 18 months in school. So you want to feel that you're going to be able to hit the ground running, and the teachers will be able to adapt to your learning needs quickly. You've also got to ask yourself how independent you can be as a learner. Now, there's two different types of independence. There's independent as in I can make myself work, I can take responsibility, I can get on with stuff, which is fabulous, but also don't forget considering how independent you can be in terms of seeking support, asking for guidance, etc. That might be easier to do in certain environments than others where you might need to be a bit more assertive. Ask yourself how much you benefit from bespoke support. So that might be the tailored support in a lesson environment, or it might be support outside of lessons. And again, if it's something that you do really benefit from, bear in mind that you could be a brilliant sixth form college teacher, but if your class sizes could be double the size or maybe even triple the size in certain instances, that's going to have a big effect on the amount of individual support that any teacher could give, just purely on the basis of the time available. Finally, you need to ask yourself, am I able to speak out confidently in lessons? Again, bigger class sizes, maybe the introduction of boys who can at times be a more dominant force in certain learning environments might make it harder for you to be heard in a lesson. If you're in a smaller class group, you're probably going to get more individual interactions. You're going to do what psychologists call more deep processing in each and every lesson. And if that's, for 15 hours of lessons a week, that's going to have a big impact over time. Another key consideration is whether the co-curricular options available will help you progress. It's really important there's a breadth of opportunities that are going to help with your personal development, build your CV, and help your university application stand out. Now, plenty of these things are familiar to you, like 10 Tours, Duke of Edinburgh, Young Enterprises, where you get to build a business and compete against other schools, mock trial competitions with Manus Uster, but also our link up with Exeter Law University Society are great options to develop your skills. But there are also plenty of academic options as well, like maths challenges, YSTEM awards, biology Olympiads, etc., so on and so forth, that can allow you to build up a CV that allows you to compete for those top university places. But it's also worth bearing in mind, because lots of schools and colleges offer all of those things, but are you going to be surrounded by people where there's a culture of participation? Does everybody throw themselves into these things? Does everybody get involved? Is everybody building those CVs, sharing those experiences? Because one, that makes those things much more fun, but it also means that there'll be lots of opportunities for you. With a sixth form of about 100, so 50 in each year group, you don't get pigeonholed. You can, get involved in the drama. You can get involved in the music. You can get involved in the sport teams, etc. Whatever takes your interest, there'll be an opportunity to do it, either at a very high level or a sort of participation level where you're just doing it to challenge yourself. There are plenty of opportunities to go around. Whereas, if you imagine a play, for instance, or an orchestra, to get the lead role, to get the solo and the concert, etc., when there are so many more people around, it can be rather difficult. It's really important to also think about the facilities that a school or college has and whether they'll help you to progress. Great facilities can be inspiring. Some schools have more on site than others, but some schools have access to outstanding facilities nearby, such as at the university or at the Barnfield Theatre, etc., for productions or world-class sporting facilities. I think the most important thing is to ask yourself what impact it has on your development. As a school, we are committed to developing a sixth form centre that inspires but also aids your learning, and I'm very happy to share that by September 2024 we should have in place a radical redesign of both the study centre, the locker room and the common room itself. We've been working with architects on this, and we're going to be running some sessions this week with years 10, 11 and 12 looking at getting student feedback on those designs. So that's very exciting. Those designs are very much focused on providing a space that is inspiring to work in, enables positive working environments, but also is centered around well-being. Another really important question is, will I be supported through my applications for university or degree apprenticeships? Applying to university can be a complex and very competitive process. Therefore, it's really important that you're making the right strategic decisions and that you are producing an application that's going to allow you to stand out from the crowd. There are lots of things you can do to help students really thrive in those areas. So when you're checking out a school, check out what their processes are. What support do they offer and when do they do it? Is it tailored to the individual or is it generic, applying to all individuals? Check the outcomes. Look at the destinations and the subject range. Are students competing for the top universities, the Russell Group, the Oxbridges, the UCLs, Imperials, Durhams, St Andrews, Baths, etc.? And are a variety of students being supported? Are there students going on for art courses? Are there percentage of STEM? Is that around 50%? So is there a sort of healthy split between the arts and the sciences in a school? Are they competing for medicine, law, English literature, etc.? Has it got that real balance and feel to it? It's really important that you feel confident that you're going to get tailored and individual support as well, because with the best will in the world, no two individuals have the same application or the same risks involved with how ambitious they want to be and which universities to target, etc., and which grade entry points to target. So it's really important that whether it be thinking about the admissions tests that are coming up or the interviews that might be required, that you are supported in a way that's going to help you compete. Another aspect to consider is whether you actually need a change. Some people really feel that they're ready for a change. If that's the case for you, ask yourself, if so, in what areas and why do I need that change? Because sixth form is a significant change wherever you go. You get your own sixth form centre here, for instance. You can wear your own clothes, you have free periods, you have more responsibility. The teacher-student relationship relaxes as you become more mature, and you've got classes where people have chosen those particular subjects. There'll be around 15 new joiners into the year group, which again refreshes and revitalises everything. And naturally your social life will evolve. You're in a city, you have friends at the college, you'll have friends at extra school and Blundell's, etc., and the social groupings will take care of themselves, and there'll be natural changes that happen in your social life around that time. You also want a sixth form that's going to help you bridge to university learning styles. As a head of sixth form here, I spend my time helping facilitate academic opportunities and looking after students pastorally rather than fixating on disciplinary issues, which just makes such a difference to the environment. It means that you can have a purposeful but relaxed environment which helps students adapt to university learning styles. Everybody's desperate for freedom as you develop as a young person, but ask what type of freedom is actually important to you at the moment. You'll get plenty of freedom with us, for instance, but it's freedom with stabilizer. So if things do start to go wrong or you do need extra academic or pastoral support, there are people that will pick up on it quickly because they know you and because we're a small community, which allows us to be more nimble in picking these things up. And we can help you build systems that can get you back on track and support you pastorally if you're struggling for motivation or confidence. And that's really, really important because sixth form is very, very short. You've actually only got 18 months in school. So, as a time to move, or as, have you really got time to adapt to all those new environments, all the new demands, getting to know all the different teachers, them getting to know you elsewhere? It's quite a lot to ask. So, change for change's sake is quite a risk. You might think that you need to go off and get used to boys before going to university, but actually you'll be absolutely fine at university without studying with boys at sixth form, because, as I say, there's lots of natural socialisation that will happen around the city in these years anyway. And boys are sometimes quite hard to study with because they mature later, but also because they can be more dominant in classroom environments, which can be hard for you to have your voice heard. Also, if you've got romantic notions that you're going to walk into your common room and stare across the room at some handsome young man, and you're going to meet the man of your dreams and get married, have kids, etc., it's probably not going to quite work out like that, because let's be honest, girls always go out with boys who are a bit older than them, and therefore the fifth formers will already be going out with the best lower sixth boys, so you're probably going to be a bit late to the party. So it's just something to consider, girls, when if that is a primary motivation of yours, which I'm sure it isn't at all. Last, but by certainly not least, is will the school look after my well-being? There are a lot of studies that show that happy students do well. You need to have a reservoir of emotional strength to invest in your studies, because it could go wrong. It won't necessarily always result in perfect grades, etc. So you really have to throw yourself into something with bravery and courage to really fulfill your goals and to stretch yourself. That's a lot easier to do if you are being looked after pastorally. So really ask yourself, is there a caring culture in the school? What are the relationships like between staff and students? What support networks are available to help you navigate the difficult time of 16 to 18, A-levels, etc., and everything that goes with that? And do the school encourage a balanced approach to life which still prepares you to compete for your future ambitions? It's really important that they do that, because otherwise you don't know what you're going to encounter between the ages of 16 to 18, so you want to feel really confident that there is somebody you can go to and you're going to get the pastoral support you need, whatever transpires. So once you've gone through this process and considered all these factors, the most important thing is that you pick what is best for you. Try to be honest with yourself, try to be objective with yourself, try to be strategic and place yourself in the best possible school or college that can help you fulfill your future ambitions. Next term, we'll be looking ahead with our sixth form open evening and taster day to give you the best opportunity to pick your A-levels, to get a feel for A-level classrooms, etc. If you have any questions in the intervening period or thereafter, please do not hesitate to contact me. I would be more than happy to answer them. Thanks for listening. Bye.